Hey, it's John Santucci from the USA Today Network. That, of course, is the great Clayton Freeman covering Northeast Florida, the Jacksonville area. How you doing, buddy?
Just great. I'm looking forward to a very good show in 2026. A lot of action out there.
Yeah, and let's get right into it. I want to ask you three questions as we look ahead to this season. Question number one, give me one player to watch in Northeast Florida this season.
I mean, there are tons of quality players around here, but I mean, if there's one player that people all around the country might be watching this year, it could be Bryson Wright out at Mandarin. I mean, you're talking about wide receiver, number one rated prospect for ESPN, number one in various composite models. He can do it all at wide receiver. Last year, 46 catches, 983 yards, 10 touchdowns. If that's not enough for you, played safety, caught 5 interceptions there, plus 5 return touchdowns. This is someone who can make extraordinary catches in traffic, and a lot of people have already seen those over the internet. And he also has the ability to turn relatively routine plays into absolute highlight reel moments with the elusiveness in the open field. Here is somebody who has just about everything people are looking for in a receiver, and it's no surprise that there are tons of major college recruiters after him. It is take your pick at this point
Right.
where he might end up, because just about every major program is pushing pretty hard to bring him on board, and you can expect a lot more highlights from him in 2026.
Absolutely. Elite of the elite for sure. All right, let's jump to this one. Give me one team to watch in Northeast Florida.
Again, a lot of teams to watch, but one team that we saw come very close last year and brings back a lot of the returning cast from last year will be Bulls, runner-up in Class 2A last season. They bring back a lot of talent. You talk about on the ground, Xander Edwards, who ran for 2,629 yards, 44 touchdowns as a sophomore. That included 522 yards, 8 touchdowns in one game against Baldwin. And he was pretty tough for anybody to slow down on the ground. You flip over to the defensive side, you've got another one of the top 10 2028 recruits in the United States in Asher Ghetto. Just look at those numbers from him off the edge last year: 35 tackles, 23 sacks, and offensive linemen just couldn't deal with him. And he has the upper body strength to just throw people down one-handed, which he has done several times. It's a team that will have to replace most of its offensive line and several other key players, but there is a lot of returning talent and also a lot of incoming talent through the high school football transfer portal. And Jaden Barnett comes across from Baldwin, and Anson Bivens from Clay, several other players that people are going to learn a lot more about this season. And Luke Toland looks like he's ready to take over at quarterback. And another player that will probably getting some radar this year is another junior, Jackson Flowers, who was the third string quarterback last year. He is getting a lot of looks as an all-around athlete and can hurt people in a lot of ways. Will be very interesting to see how they use him this year in offense that already includes, as we mentioned, Xander Edwards and Cam Tietze going to Marshall. A lot of good players on that team, and a team that could go pretty far once again in the playoffs.
Yeah, they got that big tight end in from Georgia as well.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely
going
to be another team to watch this season. All right, let me get you one more. What's one game, if you had to circle one game with all those teams up there? You already mentioned Mandarin, obviously, with Bryson Wright. You mentioned Bulls. You mentioned, we can obviously talk a lot about Reigns and them winning a state championship a year ago. What's a one game that you want to circle that fans should have tickets for right now?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about Reigns that we just mentioned. You were talking about a 14-0 reigning state champion, and that they will be playing on September 18th. Circle this one at the Graveyard against Mandarin. This is the one that a lot of people in Jacksonville have been wanting to see for years. You're talking about Northwest Jacksonville and Mandarin on the far southeast of Jacksonville. Reigns, of course, 14-0 last year, had that unforgettable win over Miami Northwestern. They have a lot of players to replace because of graduation losses, including TJ Cole, who had so much success at quarterback. But they bring a lot of talent back. And you look at Simon Ellison Morgan, who is going to be one of the top 2029 prospects, it would appear, in the area. He really did some pretty nice things in the limited playing time he got last year. You talk about people like Troy Butler off the edge. The secondary has really new look to the secondary, but there are some major talents there when you talk about Takori Allen, the return specialist and defensive back committed to FIU, who came over from Columbia, and Travion Williams, who was at Trinity last year, TJ Williamson, who was at Bowles last year. So there is a lot of talent out there at Raines, and of course they'll be going up against Mandarin. We mentioned Bryson Wright, but he's not the only one. You look at Knox Annis, top 2028 quarterback who is going to Miami. Shawnquez Foster has been extremely effective on the ground. You have people in defense like Corey Matthews at linebacker, Kendrick Outland, who was devastating at defensive tackle last year, Christian McGowan getting a lot of look at on the defensive line for the 2028 class. That is going to be one of the most anticipated games in the northern half of Florida this year. So mark down September 18th as a big day for a big one.
Absolutely. Clayton Freeman, as always, you are the best at what you do, man. Appreciate you.
Sounds great. Looking forward to the new season.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.